created.
That would be a start.
You know what, Your Honor, I did not bring a copy of the logo.
Ridiculous.
This is Judge Judy. Amy Davis is suing Corey Dyer for the return of a deposit for marketing services for her beauty pageant coaching program.
Judge, this is case number 9 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Dyer. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, you may have a seat, please.
Miss Davis, you developed a website. It sounds to me as if it was sort of a mentoring website for young women who were preparing for beauty pageants, who needed some coaching. And as a former beauty pageant winner, and I understand from your complaint that you were,
yes,
you felt as if you had some qualifications to do that. The website was developed and you needed someone to help you market it, according to what I read, and you retained the defendant in order to do that. You gave her a $5,000 deposit. According to you, she did little or nothing to earn that. You want your money back. That's what the case is about. So how did you find the defendant?
The defendant found me on social media through Facebook.
Miss Dyer, tell me how you found the plaintiff.
I met Amy and that's how I originally met Amy. I had a client who had recently launched from his stem cell business into a medical spa. We were doing a marketing campaign where we were looking for models to actually demonstrate the services. And I reached out to her and I explained to her what we were doing. And if she was interested, that she would receive over $5,000 in Botox, fillers, and lip injections.
If she was interested in modeling for this other client of yours?
Yes.
Well, how did it come about that you offered your services as a marketer to her?
That is how the doctor wanted to do it, in exchange for them coming. We had a group of where we were marketing to the masses to come in and see these services done. And so they would come in.
No, listen to me. You were offering her,
yes,
is what you're telling me, a job.
Yeah, it was
I want to know how it came about. No. I want to know how it came about that she gave you $5,000.
Okay. So when we were finished, I was in the conference room and Amy came in and we started to talk. I wanted to find out how it went for her.
So you employed her? Your company employed her?
Yes.
Okay. And you were talking to her?
Yes.
In the conference room. That was in 2018?
Yes. It was September 27th.
Okay.
I have a picture.
Sure,
okay.
Just tell me the story.
So I was in the conference room. I asked her how it went. She said she really enjoyed it. We started to speak. She asked me what I did doing for the particular company. I explained to her what I did in marketing, and she said that she had been wanting to take her coaching program online and was needing some help. And I told her that I would love to help her. I would love to learn more. She started to show me on her phone other people that she knew.
You mean this was all in the conference room?
Yes.
Shh. This was all in the conference room. Okay, that was after the gig. So you spoke for a while in the conference room.
Yes.
And she showed you what she was doing online, what the program was that she was doing online.
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, so
yeah, we
that
spoke
was
for a couple hours.
Nice. Okay, that's good. And what happened next?
So she wanted to know how much it would cost to retain my services. I told her for what she's looking at to do something online, it would start her probably about $10,000 to start. And she says, I don't have that much. And I said, well, I mean, it sounds like a great opportunity. I'd like to learn more, but maybe we could do some rev share. Maybe what we could have you do is pay half of that and we rev share on the profits. And she said, that sounds very interesting. And so we talked a little bit more. And as I learned more about it, I got more excited because she was showing me these other accounts.
Are you talking to me about the conversation you had with her on September day? That's all
the same
September
day, Your Honor.
27th.
Yes.
The same day. Okay. When was the next date you saw her?
She wrote me a check out that day.
No. When was the next day you saw her?
That would have been October 1st.
Where did you see her?
She came over to our office. She brought Greg with her.
Who was Greg?
The gentleman that is with her.
Your partner, your husband?
That's me, Your Honor. I'm a friend
He's
of
a friend.
Amy's. I'm also an
down.
attorney, but I'm not Amy's attorney.
Okay, just sit. You're a friend. Okay, so she brought Greg with her, and?
She told me and Jarrell and Emily that this was her boyfriend, and she wanted him to hear and learn more.
I don't care.
Okay, that's not important.
Doesn't matter. 27th, you didn't have a meeting. You were talking.
Yes.
She came to your office on October 1st.
Yes.
She had already written a check to you for $5,000.
She had.
That she gave you on September 27th, for which you did no work. That was just a sort of beginning process.
We actually started.
Right? You hadn't done any work.
Yeah, we actually had started all the research because we were there to meet with her on the 1st to go and show her all the research we had done. And so we spent about 300.
I don't know. I want to know what you did for her between September 27th and October.
As we spent that time preparing to see her, and we had done about 360 hours of research in researching
ridiculous
what she needed.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So the research is necessary.
What I'm telling you is between September 27th, which goes into September 28th, because you already had done a job on the 27th, you are not going to convince me that you did 360 hours between the 28th of September and the 1st of October.
Yeah.
360 hours, because there aren't 360 hours in that period of time.
We did, well, man hours. So there was 3 of us that did it, and then man hours, that's what it took, so that when we met with Amy, we could actually see what we were looking at.
Who's 3?
Myself,
Who's 3?
Jarrell, and Emily.
Who are those 2 people?
Jarrell and Emily are my partners.
Are they your children?
They are.
Okay, so you met with her and your 2 kids.
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 55.
And how old are your children?
31. And he is an artist and a designer, and my daughter.
Just one second. I'm not finished.
Okay.
He's 31.
Yes.
And he was at this meeting on October 1st.
Yes.
Was he at that meeting on October 1st?
Yes.
And
Went to FIT and graduated in FITM and design.
And was she at the meeting on October 1st? Hello, Miss Davis?
Yes, she was at the meeting on October 1st.
So you were there, your 2 children, the plaintiff and her friend.
Yes.
And what time was the meeting called?
What time was it called
What
for?
time was the meeting called for?
I'm going to say it was in the morning. Amy was running a little bit late.
In the a.m.
Yes.
And I want you to show me what you presented to her on October 1st as a result of the 360 man-hours that you spent on the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th. Show me what you presented to her. Okay, warranty of services.
Yeah.
What is that?
So this is basically showing her exactly line by line what we would be doing to be able to.
So this is what you say you're going to do for her. I want you to show me the product of 360 man-hours of work.
We didn't know what we were going to be able to do until we researched and looked at all the other online pageant, the people and what they were doing, what they were charging, what their volume was, how many awards they had won. We need to have something to compare by to be able to create that marketing for her. And so that was the time that we spent.
So nor can you show me anything that you
Well, yeah, where the product started.
360 man-hours.
Yes, so where that hit.
So
where that started.
You're a marketer.
You bet. So where that started was after our meeting with Greg and Amy. That's when we began and started to do the work. Amy had come in. She brought. Yes.
So now what you're saying is you didn't do any work between the 27th and the 1st except to prepare this one-page thing of what you proposed to do for her.
That would be correct.
Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, good. So now that's clear, because I was confused about the 360 hours from 2 days. That math doesn't work for me, and I'm pretty dumb in math. So after they left and you had her $5,000, that was on October 1st.
Is when they came.
When was the next time you saw Miss Davis?
So the next time I saw her from the time that we were in the...
October 1st.
It was October 1st.
Very easy.
And this is important, Judge, because this is...
Pay careful attention to me.
Yes.
My question is a direct one. We are now in August of 2020.
Yes.
I want to know, after October 1st, 2000, you saw Miss Davis.
So the communication was there through
text
messaging.
That's a date. That's not a so. That's not a so. No, that's not a so. That's a date.
Okay.
That's not a so.
October 2nd.
That's not a story.
October 2nd, 2018.
Where did you see her?
So she was texting us.
Where did you see her?
Well, she ghosted us after the 5th. I never saw her again after the 5th. Literally for a year, she ghosted us.
Oh, just a second. Listen to me. I asked you a simple question.
Yes.
From October 1st, 2018, until the next date that you saw her.
Well, it was by phone.
And you said October 2nd.
By phone.
No, not by phone. In person. She gave you $5,000.
Never saw her.
I want to know when the next time.
Never saw her in person after October 1st. She completely ghosted us after
$5,000? That's very...
She ghosted us for a year after the 5th.
I
Meaning
have
that
no idea what you...
So ghosted is when they just don't show up. They don't show up to the meetings. They tell you they're late. They tell you that they have prepared their script like she did and she never prepared it. They lied and said she had all this information ready for us and we were all ready to start shooting her and filming her and she didn't show up.
So what I want you to do is show me what you did for her between October 1st, 2018 and today. What you did for her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
How much did Mr. pay you for the contents of the salon, other than forgiving you your rent?
It was the next 2 years' worth of lease.
I think I have a feeling that Bill got snookered. He got snookered by COVID, and he got snookered by you.
Amy Davis says she paid Corey Dyer $5,000 to market her beauty pageant coaching program. Amy claims Corey barely did anything.
What I want you to do is show me what you did for her between October 1st, 2018 and today. What you did for her, what your marketing company did for her, how it prepared. Just show me. Put up one at a time.
Okay, so here's the first one. We were prepped and ready to have her come in and to start filming her. She said that she got...
I'm not interested in text messages. I want to see your marketing campaign.
So you want to see the logo that we created? You want to see the logo that we created for her? Is that specific?
That would be a start. That would be a start. Take off the texts and show me a logo that you prepared for her.
You know what, Your Honor? I did not bring a copy of the logo.
For the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000 for her refund. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Oh my gosh.
You can't doubt Judge Judy. I mean, as a judge, I agree that she knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for a long time.
This has been a long time coming. I'm so grateful. I feel like...
I didn't come prepared. That was on my end. I didn't come prepared with the logos and the things that we did with Amy.
Justice was finally served. Judge Judy was able to catch...
And so that's my bad. I truly wish Amy the very best, though.
Corey Dyer and many lies.
No, she was never pleased with anything. That was the problem.
But it just definitely wasn't the match for me.
All parties in the matter of Mushka versus Hallman approach the podium.
Michelle Mushka is suing Dennis and Brenda Hallman for the return of a deposit on a beauty salon and the return of stolen property.
Well, let me start with you, Miss Hallman. How long did you and your husband own this beauty salon?
5, almost 6 years.
And do you rent the space from someone?
I do. I rent the building.
From whom?
Bill is the owner of the building.
How much rent do you pay, or did you pay?
The first year it started out at $1,500.
And what was it in 2019?
$1,750.
Were you current in your rent at the time that you sold the salon to the plaintiff?
4 months behind on rent.
So far, you had a broken lease, and according to what I read in the complaint, you had not maintained your filing status with the state, correct?
I had a business.
That's either a yes or a no?
Yes.
So the asset that you were selling was what?
Was all the assets that were inside the salon.
What is that?
The mirrors, the chairs, the stations, the furniture, the decorations.
The renters, the people that
rented. Now, I didn't ask you anything.
I was helping her out.
I didn't ask you anything.
Thank you.
Don't help her unless I ask you a question. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
And the landlord, and I was selling the agreement from the landlord to the purchaser.
Did Bill tell you he was going to evict you if you didn't pay rent?
No, not at all.
Well, what's the reason for your not paying rent for 4 months?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why didn't you give her her money back?
She didn't ask for it back. She also stated that, I doubt you have it. She said, so I want everything that you have to do with this business. She wouldn't take her money back.
What are you, crazy?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michelle Mushka says Dennis and Brenda Hallman.
What's the reason for your not paying rent for 4 months?
I had a business partner, and she decided to fall in love with a military man, and she left the state. And so I was left to take over and pay everything on my own when she used to pay for half of everything. So I talked to the landlord.
Well, did you pay half your rent?
Yes, I did pay partial payments to Bill, and we made agreements that...
How much is partial payment? Let's go. I just want to know.
You know, there was $800, there was $400, there was $200. It just depended on the week and how much I was making at the moment. And my landlord was extremely
This is what
helpful.
the case is about. You agreed to sell the assets of a place that you were behind in rent on that was not a legitimate salon because the license hadn't been maintained for a couple of years. You agreed to sell that to the plaintiff for the sum of $10,000. She gave you a $5,000 deposit. We all agree that she gave you a $5,000 deposit. That's what she wants back. Now, are you back in the salon?
No, I'm not.
Well, are you not back in the salon because of COVID? You don't seem to indicate to me that you were not back to work in January.
I was back to work in January in the salon. And
January?
Then, yes.
Right. And you were back to work in February in the salon. You were back to work until they closed the salons because of COVID.
Correct.
Until the state of Washington State, until they closed down all the salons.
I sold my assets to the building owner, which was Bill.
Just a second. So Bill bought your salon?
He bought everything that was inside the salon.
How much did Mr. pay you for the contents of the salon, other than for giving you your rent?
It was the next 2 years' worth of lease. He let me out of that as well.
What do you mean as well? As well as what?
He let me out of the contract.
And
he forgave any
And
payments.
he took, just a second, and he took possession of all the furniture. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, most of it. Mirrors, stations, roller carts.
So he took that because he knew he wasn't going to get any money from you.
No, he wanted to leave it there so that he could then, in turn, rent it out.
Well, that was a bad deal. I think I have a feeling that Bill got snookered. He got snookered by COVID, and he got snookered by you.
Not by me.
Why didn't you give her money back?
Because she told me
she gave you $5,000.
She wanted the salon. She didn't ask for it back. She also stated that I doubt you have it.
Just don't say anything.
She said, so I want everything that you have to do with this business.
Sure.
She wouldn't take her money back.
Just a second. You sold it to somebody. What are you, crazy?
I'm not crazy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You mean so you sold what she bought to somebody else and kept her money?
This was his idea. He came to me. I have a text message also that this was his, that he stated to me. This was his idea.
You hadn't paid rent to him then, by that time, for 5 months, and certainly weren't going to pay him for March, April, May, June, July, because all salons were closed in Washington State.
Right.
So he said, well, give me what you got. I mean, I can't get blood from a turnip, so I'm going to take over everything, and I'll let you out of your lease, and so I won't sue you for the back rent for 2 years, and goodbye and good luck. Is he a friend of yours?
The back rent was for 4 months. And
is he a friend of yours, is my question.
Not. I would say acquaintance, but not a friend. We don't have barbecues together.
He's an acquaintance. You have to give her back a deposit. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done. You see, you didn't have to say a word. Goodbye.
Pardons are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The horse's legs were bitten. Yes. The pit bull was the precipitant. You can't.
Next Judge Judy.
I'm thankful for her decision on this case. It's been a long time that we've had to deal with this, and I'm just thankful for it. Thank you, Judge Judy.
You saw a pit bull and a German shepherd.
Yes.
On the loose and on the prowl.
I see my pony bleeding.
This horse was bought for my daughter.
The horse's legs were bitten.
Yes.
A defiant neighbor sticks by her animals.
The pit bull was the precipitating factor.
According to her.
No, according to me.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt?
No, you can't.
This is Judge Judy. Estela Hernandez is suing her former neighbor, Myra Solis, for vet bills and punitive damages after Myra's dogs attacked her pony.
Judge, this is case number 11 on the calendar in the matter of Hernandez versus Solis. Parties have been sworn in. Siéntese, por favor.
Thank you. Ms. Hernandez, you have a horse, and you and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
It is your claim that 2018, for the second time, dogs that belong to the defendant injured your horse.
Yes. The first injury was in October, actually, of 2018.
And when that injury happened, according to you, the horse's legs were bitten.
Yes, we have one horse.
Is that right?
Yes.
We're not involved with that instance in this court case. What you're really talking about is the incident that happened in December. But I want to know whether or not you, as a neighbor, knew what the defendant's dogs looked like.
I didn't know.
You did not?
No.
So these were not dogs that you saw frequently?
That I saw, no. That my husband saw
No.
and my neighbor saw, yes.
Well, I don't know about your neighbor, but your husband is there.
Yes.
So now I'm going to ask your husband. His last name is?
Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez, would you step up, please? Mr. Hernandez, can you tell me what you observed in December of 2018?
I heard some noise 4 o'clock in the morning. When I go outside, I see my pony in the driveway, and I see my pony bleeding a lot. And I go to check, and I see like 40 feet in the front, the same dogs, the pit bull or him.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt?
No,
Your Honor,
you can't.
the
When I come
statement-
to you, listen to me. When I come to you and ask you a question, you can answer me. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor, but in his
Good,
statement, he's
perfect.
claiming a husky.
No, he didn't say a husky.
He said a
I
hus-
want you to just pay careful attention to me.
Yes, Your Honor.
When I come to you, you can talk.
Okay, Your Honor.
Right now, I'm not addressing you. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Now, you saw a pit bull and a German shepherd.
Yes.
Had you ever seen these dogs before?
Yeah, in October, like 15, 16, is the first attack to my pony.
After the October incident, when your pony was hurt, did you speak to the defendant?
Your Honor.
Next day.
Speak to her.
Next day.
The next day, you spoke to Miss Solis,
No.
or your wife did the next day. Who? What part of don't speak don't you understand?
Sorry, Your Honor.
Who spoke to Miss Solis, you or your wife, the next day?
The next-
back in October.
My friend called me. The dogs go to your property again. When I go outside, I see the dogs for first time.
Was that a pit bull and a German shepherd?
Yeah.
Those were the two dogs. That was
15. And I
Okay.
see it October 16 is the first time when I see it in my property.
okay.
When
What kind of dogs did you see?
pit bull, like gray, and German shepherd.
Okay. And are those the same two dogs that you saw in December
Yeah,
after your horse was again injured?
Yeah, the same dogs.
And your pony was both times, both in October and December, on your property?
Yes, inside my property.
Okay. Sit down, Mr. Hernandez. Thank you very much. Ms. Hernandez, how long has the defendant been a neighbor of yours?
Actually, I don't know. I don't know her, but we moved into this property July of 2013.
And how long has the pony been with you?
We bought her, I believe, that end of that same year. So could be like November, December.
2013.
2013, yes, because this
2013.
horse was bought for my daughter. So that's when she was born.
Up until the October incident, had you had any trouble with any other animals and your pony?
No.
There have been no other incidents. Okay.
No.
Now look at me. Now I'm going to talk to you. Do you understand, Miss Solis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you live in a house?
Yes.
Who do you live in the house with?
I live with my mom, my dad, my son, my daughter
Your mom and dad lived in that house.
since 2010.
When did you move in with them?
So basically, we moved in. I mean, I've been with them. I just recently separated from them this year.
So you've lived with them?
Yes.
And when did you get the German Shepherd?
We got the German Shepherd when my little sister was about...
Dave, look at me. Look at me.
I'm looking.
Very good. Just look at me.
Okay, I'm looking.
In what year did you get the German Shepherd? Look at me.
Sorry, I'm trying to think. I was about 8 years old. I'm 24 now.
What year did you get the Pit Bull?
We recently got it 2018. It had only been a couple months when the incidents happened. So August.
Okay, so you got the Pit Bull.
August 2018.
In 2018.
Yes.
So the Pit Bull was the precipitating factor.
Yes. Correct, according to her. Pitbull was kind, Pitbull was loving.
No. According to me.
According to you,
me.
Your Honor.
According to me. Well, ordinarily I wouldn't let you, but I'm trying to educate you.
Educate me.
I'm trying to educate
on
you.
a Pitbull?
Yes, I'm trying to educate you, so I want you to be quiet.
Okay, Your Honor.
If you want to be educated, then you'll be quiet. The reason I'm saying the Pitbull was the target date, because the plaintiffs have lived in you have lived in your home with your family since 2010. Mm-hmm. They have had no problem with anything attacking their pony 2013, 14, 15, 16, and 17 until well into 2018. You had your German Shepherd since, according to you, you were 8 years old.
Yes.
Do you understand so far? Do you understand where I'm teaching you logic?
Yes.
In 30 seconds, I'm teaching you a 6-month course in logic.
Okay, Your Honor.
The only time that they had trouble with their pony being injured twice, once in October on their property and once in December in an incident involving a pit bull, which is when you got your pit bull in 2018. Nothing happened with your German Shepherd in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17 or 18. The only date consistent with this injury is with the pit bull in 2018. Did I just teach you logic?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Can I see the vet bill, please?
I also have a report from the vet. She wrote out a statement.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
We both put it
I would like to see it. Just a second. Who wrote?
The doctor that actually came out and did the surgery.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So I'd like to add, Your Honor, that she actually treated the horse, but at the time that she was treating the horse, we also showed her what other injuries the dog had had that consist with an attack, and she agreed, and that's why she wrote out the statement.
No. Got it. Would you show me the bills from the vet?
So, I believe this is the first one. Let me know when I can go ahead and put the second one.
Yes, and show me the second one, please.
Second one.
Your Honor, can I ask to see the second vet bill?
Can I go ahead and finish putting these up, Your Honor? There's more than two.
Yeah, it doesn't make any. I just want to see proof of that the horse was taken to the vet. Now, after the October incident, did you speak to Miss Solis?
After the October incident, I sent her a text message letting her know that if we can have a discussion regarding these vet bills, and I never got an answer from her.
Okay.
Do your parents own or lease the house? Do your parents own or lease the house?
Lease.
Do they have insurance on the leased house?
Yes.
Do they have homeowners insurance?
They do. They have homeowners insurance.
Did they notify the homeowners insurance that you
We were just fostering, and my parents, they have nothing to do with that. We were fostering the pit bull.
What do you mean they have nothing to do with that?
We were fostering the pit bull. We were just doing our research as to what we needed to be able to, go ahead and keep our pit bull here at the house. We didn't even get a chance to do anything of that. We had no chance.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So what did you do with the pit bull?
I had to give her up.
You didn't give her up in October or November or December.
And, Your Honor, I was informed by Animal Control.
Listen to me. I'm not speaking to you.
And later today,
you got $1,450 from her as a deposit. Did you rent the studio?
Not to her.
Have you rented the studio?
It is rented right now.
Let's not play with me.
Estela Hernandez says dogs owned by her former neighbor, Myra Solis, attacked and injured her pony.
Okay. Can you tell me why You never responded to the plaintiff's initial text in October.
I did respond, and we did speak on the phone. We had a conversation on the phone, and I said, hey, you know what? They had mentioned a video of evidence that my 2 dogs were attacking her pony. Even the animal control, please go ahead and show me the video. I would love to see the video. And, I would have went ahead, if I saw that those were my dogs, I would have had no problem paying her the original $270 that she said that I owed. But they never showed me the video. They failed to show me the video. And so then I said, okay, well then...
She wanted me to wait, Your Honor.
So what did you do with... So what did you do with the pit bull?
I had to give her away.
After October?
I had to give her away. I had to give her up. They were asking me.
Just a sec. On what date? You didn't give her up in October or November or December.
Your Honor, I was informed by animal control.
Listen to me. I'm not speaking to you.
Okay.
You didn't get rid of the pit bull.
I did, Your Honor.
In October, November. On what date? Can you prove to me that you got rid of the pit bull?
They came. They gave us a warning, the first attack in August.
What date?
Your Honor, I have to look that up. I am not sure.
Just tell me what date they came and took the pit bull.
It was after the second incident, after December, so it was not in December.
Okay, very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. You want to keep a dangerous dog? That's your problem.
Your Honor, this pony's going to need treatment. It's going to need therapy.
We're finished. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
In their backyard, but I lost 2 dogs.
I think it was fair. I think if you're going to be a pet owner, you should be a responsible pet owner.
It's a traumatic event.
Just tragedy all the way around.
All parties in the matter of LaBraine Jackson versus Oswald. Approach the podium, please.
Brenda LaBraine Jackson is suing her former landlord-to-be, Jerome Oswald, for the return of a deposit on an apartment she never moved into.
Miss LaBraine Jackson, you want your deposit back on an apartment that you rented from the defendant.
Yes.
It is your claim that the apartment wasn't ready in time. I have a few questions. First question is, prior to March of this year, where were you living?
I was living with my parents.
And you had been living at home with your parents for a long time?
Yes, maybe 5 years.
This was a move-out experience because you were working in January for whom?
In January, I was working at a medical spa, and I work at Burke Williams. I'm a massage therapist.
So you had 2 jobs?
Yes.
And you had those 2 jobs when you first saw the apartment in March?
Absolutely, yes.
Correct?
Yes, correct.
And at that time, you gave the defendant $1,450 to hold the apartment for you?
Yes.
So he stopped charge. Both of those jobs went away because of COVID. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So by the time you were supposed to move in April, you had no source of income?
Absolutely right.
Okay. So let's not blame the defendant for why you changed your mind about moving into the apartment. You changed your mind about moving into the apartment because you couldn't pay rent, because you weren't working because of the pandemic.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had a contract with him. Just because you didn't have a written contract doesn't mean you didn't have a contract. He offered his apartment. You accepted his apartment. In consideration of that, he took it off the market. That, madam, is a contract.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brenda LaBraine Jackson says Jerome Oswald won't return a deposit for an apartment she never moved into. Jerome is countersuing for the cost of the renovations she requested.
Now, I'd like you to tell me about what the apartment looked like when you first saw it in March.
When I first saw the apartment in March, the apartment was not move-in ready.
What was wrong with it?
There was no cooktop. There was no shower. The shower, he had just started to, fix it.
Shower?
Yeah, yeah.
How large an apartment was it?
It's a studio back house.
Is it a 1-bedroom or studio?
Yeah, studio.
Had you rented this studio before, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And you asked the defendant to make certain changes as long as he was doing renovations in the apartment. What changes did you want?
He had a TV in his studio back house, and my son and I, we really don't watch TV, and we didn't want to be held accountable for anything that could have, may have happened with the TV. So I kind of asked him to just remove it just so that we can put in our own things.
Did you ask him to build any additional closet space or anything else?
No, I did not.
Nothing else? Just remove the TV?
Yes.
What else did the plaintiff, according to you, ask you to do in the apartment?
She asked me to remove all the upper cabinets in the kitchenette and also remove the TV, which was actually mounted to the wall. So, you know, I had to repair the walls.
Okay.
And also install a medicine cabinet in the bathroom and install a organizer in the closet.
Okay. Any of that sound familiar?
Most of it does. The only thing that's not true is the fact that I was the one that provided the closet organizer, and I told him, you know, to be able to do that in his unit.
So this is the problem that you have. The problem that you have is that you decided not to move into this studio with your son because you lost your job.
Yes.
That was the reason.
Absolutely.
And that's not Mr. Oswald's problem. You know, it's unfortunate, but if he was holding that apartment for you, that was your arrangement.
Yes.
He stopped showing the apartment so that because you were going to be the tenant. So you don't get your deposit back if you decided not to move in because you lost your job. I feel terrible that you lost your job and that you had to stay home with your parents, with your son. But you gave him the $1,450 to hold the apartment so that he would take it off the market and not show it to anyone else.
I agree with that, Your Honor.
That's the reason. The
only thing with that, though, is he never gave me possession of the place. I never received keys for the place.
You don't have to receive keys for the place, madam. The reason that you decided not to move into the apartment is because you lost your job, period.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
This money owed for special renovations, $1,500. You got $1,450 from her as a deposit. Did you rent the studio?
Not to her.
Have you rented the studio?
It is rented right now.
Let's not play with me.
Pardon
It's
me?
rented. And when did you rent it?
The beginning of July.
Good. So you were out a few months, but there's a pandemic in this world,
exactly.
And everything is sort of upside down. So you were without rent for a little bit, and you're back home with your parents. Is that right?
I actually moved to Louisiana
Why?
because it's more economically viable for me at the moment.
You mean cheaper than staying with your parents?
Yes, actually it is.
Did you move in with somebody?
No.
In Louisiana?
No, it's just me and my son.
And your parents live where, in California?
Yes, they live in California.
Listen, I don't have time to go into that decision-making process of yours. I assume you're not living for free in Louisiana.
I have relatives in Louisiana as well.
Are you living with relatives in Louisiana?
At the moment, I am, but I do have an apartment that I'm going to be renting in September.
Okay. Both the claim and the counterclaim are dismissed. Thank you very much. We're finished here.
I do want to say, though, he never signed the contract. Does that not matter?
We're done. No, you had, just so that I answer you, and I don't have to answer you, you had a contract with him, a contract. There was an offer, an acceptance, and consideration. He offered his apartment. You accepted his apartment. You gave him $1,450 to hold that apartment. In consideration of that, he took it off the market. That, madam, is a contract. I've just given you contract 101 in law school. We're finished. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
How were you contributing to the household?
Mostly I cleaned.
Other than being tidy, he paid no rent. He's a 27-year-old man who was living with his mother.
Judge Judy.
I'm pleased to hear that I don't have to give a deposit back.
I think that it was fair.
She wasn't willing to work at all with me.
I thought there were certain things, certain laws in place, contracts and stuff like that.
Probably be a little tougher, I guess.
No more money up front.
It was a risk taking him in.
As the mother of 2 children, you invited a perfect stranger to move into your house after knowing him for 2 weeks.
And the reward wasn't worth it.
I told him, mostly I cleaned.
Other than being tidy, he paid no rent. Big surprise. He's a 27-year-old man who was living with his mother.
This is Judge Judy. Baylin Hummage is suing her ex-boyfriend, Mason McNatt, for breaching a lease and for an unpaid loan.
Judge, this is case number 2 on the calendar in the matter of Hummage versus McNatt. The parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Let me understand this. The two of you met on the internet. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you met online in March of 2019.
Correct.
On what site?
Tinder, Your Honor.
And how long did you have a relationship online?
Maybe a week at the most before we met in person.
And where did you meet in person?
He and his friend traveled from his hometown in Ridgecrest, California, to my home in Rosamond, California. It's about an hour drive, and we went to dinner at Outback Steakhouse. I believe that was where we went.
It was Clam Jumpers.
Sorry.
Okay, that was your first date?
Yes.
With his friend?
With his friend and my 2 children. So it was kind of more of a friendship gathering versus an actual romantic date.
Okay. And when did you have your first actual romantic date?
As a mother, a single mother of 2 children, 2 old at the time, I can't say we ever had a romantic date out.
Well, you met him in March. Now I know you have 2 little babies.
Yes.
And where is their father?
Their father lives in Palmdale, California. I hold full legal and full physical custody.
In what month did Mr. McNatt move in with you?
Mr. McNatt asked me to be his girlfriend exclusively on April 14th, 2019. That same day, he went to a Dodgers baseball.
Within a couple of weeks of meeting him, he wanted to be your exclusive boyfriend and asked to move in with you.
Yes, he never went home after that day.
So after a couple of weeks?
Correct.
Well, that was certainly interesting, Mr. McNatt. Where did you live prior to that, sir?
With my parents in Ridgecrest.
How old are you?
I just turned 27.
So hankering to get out of the house.
A little, yeah.
Okay. So now, using excellent judgment, as the mother of 2 children, you invited a perfect stranger to move into your house after knowing him for 2 weeks. Is that the story that I'm getting? Yes, that's the story that I'm getting. So he moved in. And how long had you been living with your 2 children?
I moved in there November 2018.
So you'd been living there for a while?
Correct.
And what was the rent in that apartment?
$950.
Do you work?
I do.
So you were paying the rent?
Correct.
And when he moved in, according to your complaint, there was a time that you got behind in rent. In what months did you get behind in rent?
March is when I started getting behind.
The same March that you met him?
Yes.
Yes. And why were you getting behind in rent?
I had just lost an amount of income, so I started panicking, and I did borrow a little bit of money from my mother. In April, about 6 days after Mason and I started dating officially, I was served custody paperwork from my ex, who was trying to take me to court to take 50-50 custody. And because that was a domestic violence relationship for 4 years, it was terrifying. So I took about a month off of work.
Just a second. So when he moved in, your ex-husband or your ex sued you. You were served with papers, custody papers.
Yes.
And what did you do?
I became very, very overwhelmed and afraid because he was domestically abusive to both the children and I. So I took him all help that I needed. I was driving to Bakersfield because that's where my court case was, spending hours and hours at the family law facilitator.
So just a second. So you took a month off from work, and you had reduced income, and you got in April, and you got behind, and... So what did you do? I mean, right now, you want him to pay what your lawsuit is.
Oh, you're asking about what did I do to get money?
Primarily to get money.
Got it.
I'm trying to figure out. You and Mr. McNatt were a couple from mid-April, 2 weeks after you met, of 2019. Mr. McNatt, when did you move out? What month and year?
I moved out in October of 2019.
So you were together for about 6.5 months or 6 months, is that right?
Yes.
Now, did you move from the house that you were living with when you first moved in with her to another place?
Yes, we did.
In what month?
We left the Rosemont apartment in the end of August. and got on a lease in September.
Where did you live when you left the Rosemont apartment in August?
We moved to Lancaster. We went on a lease together in Lancaster.
You signed a lease. And
Yes.
how much was the rent in the lease in Lancaster?
$1,350. Because also as a school librarian, I don't work over summers, so I didn't anticipate any way of how I could catch up. We took a personal loan from my sister, Amber Berry, for the outstanding rent balance of $5,000. Amber Berry...
You mean for the old apartment?
Yes.
You mean for the old apartment?
Yes. So our intention was to catch up on rent and stay there. Mason and I agreed we would pay my sister back half of the loan when our taxes came in for the 2019 year. So I attempted to use the money from the loan to pay the outstanding balance for my apartment. And I had the check was returned, and it was a cashier's check with a Post-it on it that said, "We cannot accept your payment. Please contact our legal department," with a phone number. So I contacted the legal department and I said, I have every penny that I owe you. I even have whatever outstanding attorney fees you may have acquired, because I know that is my responsibility to pay.
They were trying to evict you for non-payment of rent.
Correct.
Well, you've left that big part out.
Yeah, no, I was trying to get to that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, but that's where we're at. You had not paid your rent for how many months? 4?
It was 4 months with late fees and...
Okay, so they said we can process.
Correct.
And goodbye.
Yes,
and goodbye.
so they said we were not going to accept your payment. So Mason and I decided that we would start looking for a place to move together.
Great. Now, when you found the place, Mr. McNatt, you signed a lease.
Yes.
Were you working at the time?
Yes, I was.
What kind of work do you do?
I mostly work with adults with autism.
Do you get paid by the state?
No, they're private companies.
So you work for a private company?
Yes.
I want to know who you get your check from and how often do you get a check?
I was paid bi-weekly, and I was making minimum wage. Also commuting from Rosemont to Ridgecrest every day.
How are you contributing to the household?
Mostly I cleaned. I practically cleaned up every single day I was there. I cooked whenever possible.
That means you're a neat program. Let's talk about money, cash.
Yeah. I helped with bills on occasion when I could, but I was commuting to and from Ridgecrest every single day, and I was eating up a lot in gas.
So while you were living with her in the old place, you didn't contribute at all to rent?
No.
Well, if he didn't contribute at all to rent in the months that he lived in your old apartment, what made you think that he was going to contribute to rent when you moved into a new, more expensive apartment?
Promises. In the initial apartment, he did not...
Promises.
In the initial apartment, we didn't have any type... It was...
You don't need an agreement. He's a 27-year-old man who was living with his mother, and he had a job, and he moved into your apartment, and other than being tidy, he paid no rent. So I want you to tell me so that I'm going to believe it, because then you borrowed money from your sister, because he had never paid rent. So you borrowed money from your sister to catch up on the rent because you wanted to stay in your apartment. Then you used that money from your sister, because they evicted you, to get another apartment. So now I want you to tell me what I'm going to believe that Mason over here said to you that led you to believe that he was going to contribute to this rent.
He was in the process of becoming a correctional officer, of which I do not know what the end result was. He also had applied and taken the testing and passed to become an LA sheriff. He had made multiple attempts.
But he didn't have a job.
Right.
But
so the relationship ended a month into our lease because of, I told him, you know, you need to pay. And he begged and said, I have nowhere to go. Please don't do this. I said, I'm not kicking you out.
I have to go home.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're a mother of 2 small children, and the relationship that you started on Tinder and had somebody move in 2 weeks later didn't work out. Big surprise.
Balin Hummage says she moved in with ex-boyfriend Mason McNatt after dating for only a month. Balin claims Mason breached the lease and defaulted on a loan.
Okay, go ahead.
We signed a legal agreement. He had every right to stay there. But I said to him, I need you to pay rent as you had agreed. So I never kicked him out. I never told him you need to leave. You need to find somewhere else to live. I said, you can stay here as our lease agrees.
What were the problems? Yeah. You're a mother of 2 small children, And the relationship that you started on Tinder and had somebody move in 2 weeks later didn't work out. Big surprise. Are you still in that apartment?
I am still in the house, yes.
Are you current in your rent?
I am current.
Do you intend to stay there?
I do not know if the landlord will allow me to, but I would appreciate it if
Why?
I could. We asked the landlord in March if he would remove Mason off of the lease because Mason has made the decision to leave and he didn't want to be there. And the landlord said, no, I will not remove him off the lease. He has a responsibility to be there.
As long as you pay, it's not his responsibility to be there, madam. It's his responsibility to the landlord to pay the rent. So this is what two people to go against, you and him. His contract is with the landlord, not with you. And as a mother of two small children, I certainly wouldn't want someone to live with me with whom I no longer feel comfortable. You want to tell me what happened when he moved out? What precipitated his moving out? Did you have an argument?
Just your casual, just couples fighting, not working out, not being compatible.
Okay, that's fair. Did you feel it too,
I
Mr.
did.
McNatt? That it wasn't working out?
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't working out. Well, you know you're on the hook for rent. If she stops paying the rent, you
Yes,
understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Did you move home to your mother?
No, I moved in with my sister briefly, and I just got my own apartment.
Good. That's good. How much rent are you paying?
$700.
Anybody live with you?
My girlfriend, Marie, yes.
Does she contribute to the rent?
Yes, she does.
How much does she contribute?
We split it down half and half.
Did you think that's fair?
Yes.
Would you think it was fair if she said, I'm going to keep my half of the apartment clean? That's going to be my contribution. I'm going to be tidy.
I wouldn't have minded it.
Mm-hmm. How many months did you live in the new house?
I was only there for less than a month.
He still has all of his, not all of it, a large portion of belongings in my home that he has made.
I know, he's got to
messages saying he wants to come and get them.
What things do you have there?
I have a lot of tools that I left there, as well as a bin full of old pictures and writings from my deceased best friend, as well as my mentally ill cousin. I wasn't able to get everything.
Okay. Within 5 days from today's date, you make arrangements to go and get all your stuff. If you don't get anything within 5 days, she's going to get rid of everything that she has that belongs to you that she doesn't want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have scoured my entire house with the help of my boyfriend, Jared, and I never found any letters or anything of like that. I have an old toolbox. I have a heater. I have a fan.
Listen, whatever you have, put it in a large box. If you give her the date, you will be there. You have a front porch, I assume.
Yes.
She's going to put it out between a 2-hour period on the date you give her. If you don't pick it up, you don't pick it up. Whatever is there is what she has. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your boyfriend, when did he move in?
He does not live with me.
Ever?
He visits because of the COVID situation, and I was out of work for a while, but he does not live with me.
And later today.
The one thing that you're complaining about is that they didn't clean $1 million for your house, is going to put in new carpet and not use your 20-year-old carpet.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bail-in Homage says ex-boyfriend Mason McNatt breached their lease and owes for a loan. Mason is countersuing for the return of his belongings and harassment.
Now, your boyfriend, when did he move in?
He does not live with me.
Ever?
No. He visits because of the COVID situation. So he was out of school for a while, and I was out of work for a while, but he does not live with me.
Okie dokie. Mr. McNatt is going to give you $1,350. That is for half the rent for the 1 month that he did live there and half the security deposit. You borrowed money from your sister? That's your problem with your sister. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,350. Your property 5 days from today. We're done.
What about the harassment charge that I have against her as well?
Out!
Parties are excused.
If I have to pay half the rent from when I lived there, that's fine.
It wasn't ideal, but I am happy to feel heard and understood.
I didn't feel like she loved me at all, so I wanted to leave.
A lot of guilt, a lot of poor choices on my hand.
All parties in the matter of Cole versus Dixon
suing his former landlord, Deborah Dixon, for the return of his deposit and the return of rent.
Mr. Cole, you were a tenant of Miss Dixon's, and you were a tenant of hers for 13 years.
Yes, I was.
Was that in a house or an apartment?
A house, Your Honor.
And what you're asking for in this case is for the return of your security deposit. Your lease was over in April. You were paying tenant for 13 years. Your security deposit was retained by the defendant because she says that you did some damage to the property. Okay, so I have a few questions for you before I go back to Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole started to lease this house 13 years ago. When did you purchase the house? In what year?
It was in 1993.
Did you ever live in the house?
Yes, I did.
Until when?
March of 2006.
And is that when you leased the house for the first time?
Yes, I leased the house in 2007.
And prior to Mr. Cole moving in, what renovations had you made to the house?
We did a lot of renovations. We did a patio in the back. We did carpeting.
Was that when you lived there?
Yes. We also painted the house in 2006 before we left inside.
Okay. So you painted it?
Yes, I'm sorry. We also redid the both bathrooms.
Anything else?
No.
So you painted the house and you did 2 bathrooms?
Yes.
And then rented it?
Yes.
And what was Mr. Cole's rent?
At the time was $16.95.
What was his rent in this last lease?
$2,100.
And did he pay his rent each month?
Yes, he did.
What was his security deposit?
$1,650.
And now you can tell me why you didn't give him back his $1,650.
Because he left the carpet really dirty. They had ample time to go in and have somebody clean it, clean the windows, repaint inside, or at least clean the walls inside. They didn't clean the bathrooms. The bathrooms were really bad, and so was the kitchen. And not only
What
that...
did you do with the house?
I sold it.
You sold it. What did you purchase it for?
$120.
And what did you sell it for?
I sold it for $505.
And you had rent from the plaintiff over a 13-year period?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I sold the house in March.
March of 2020?
Correct.
What date in March of 2020?
It closed on the 24th.
The plaintiff was still living there when you opened escrow, correct?
Yes.
So the purchasers, I assume, saw the house before they opened escrow.
Correct.
He gets his security back. You sold the house, you made 5 times the money that what you paid for it, and clearly the purchasers of the house didn't have any problem with the dirty windows, and they were going to replace at least 13-year-old carpeting anyway. According to you, the only thing that you did 13 years ago is you painted, and you did 2 bathrooms. That suggests to me that the one thing that you're complaining about is that they didn't clean the carpet. I assure you, madam, that somebody who paid $500,000 for your house is going to put in new carpet and not use your 20-year-old carpet.
Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,650. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I have 4 children. 3 of my children live with me.
This is the boyfriend. You didn't pay rent for 4 months.
I do my part.
What do you do for your part other than make children?
Next Judge Judy.
A written notice of the breaking the lease.
I think it was fair and just.
I was missing about 17 plants that they took out.
Yeah, I took the plants out. They were kind of dying anyway.
I'm just done with the rental business.
I'm glad I'm out of there and everything is wonderful.
A struggling young mother.
I have 4 children.
Do they all live with you?
3 of my children live with me.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
It's enough children for a while.
And a father fails to step up.
This is the boyfriend.
Yes.
He was living with you, right?
Correct.
You didn't pay rent for 4 months, according to Miss Garcia.
I do my part.
What do you do for your part other than make children?
This is Judge Judy. Richard Mance is suing the girlfriend of his wife's nephew, 22-year-old Jasmine Garcia, for unpaid rent, damages, and court fees for an apartment in his name.
Judge, this is case number 3 on the calendar in the matter of Mance versus Garcia. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, you may be seated.
Mr. Mance, do you see the gentleman standing next to Miss Garcia?
Yes, that's my wife and nephew.
Okay. So that's your nephew?
Yes,
it's his girlfriend, and
yes.
They have a child together.
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point, you foolishly co-signed a lease for the two of them.
It wasn't a co-sign. It was a jointly tenant agreement. I wasn't eligible to do a co-sign.
You weren't or they weren't?
I wasn't. It was going by my income. My income wasn't high enough to do a co-sign.
And when was it that the lease was signed?
It's in evidence.
When did they
lease
move
take
into the
effect
apartment?
April the 18th, 2018.
Okay. What was the rent on the apartment?
Total money rent sum was $1,350.
When did you move out of the apartment, Miss Garcia?
It was a few days before May 9th, so it would have been May 4th, 2019.
Who was living in the apartment with you in March of 2019?
My two children and Brian, my boyfriend.
Was he living there in February?
Yes.
Okay. When did you stop paying rent?
The last time I paid rent was December. It was for the month of December. Paid it in November.
So you didn't pay December?
No.
So you didn't pay December, January, February, or March?
No.
At least 4 months. Why?
I had a conversation with Richard in December about my money running out. I was former foster youth, so that before I moved into the apartment, and I had let him know.
Don't tell me what he knew. Don't tell me what he knew. You have 2 children?
3.
Do they all live with you?
Yes. I have 4 children. 3 of my children live with me.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
22?
Yes.
It's enough children for a while. This is the boyfriend?
Yes.
He was living with you?
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Is there any reason, Mr. Mance, that you're not suing your nephew as well as his girlfriend?
The nephew wasn't on the lease, ma'am.
Who cares whether he was on a lease or not? His behind was in the house. He was busy making children. Is there any reason why you didn't sue him?
Well, ma'am, I'm suing Jasmine because we got a judgment together. His name wasn't on with the judgment.
Okay. Would you put up there a copy of the judgment that you got and then show me that you paid it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay it? Did you pay it?
I paid. I made arrangement with the owner of the apartment to make payments if he would mask the case so our credit wouldn't get ruined.
No. Can you just answer my question? You're going to show me the judgment and then tell me how much you paid on the judgment.
Yes, ma'am.
That you have proof of.
There's a judgment, ma'am.
Okay. Dollars.
Yes, ma'am.
The principal sum was $8,000, and then they added on attorney's fees and costs. Okay. Well, of the $8,000, they had a security deposit of $2,500. Is that what I read from the paper, Miss Garcia?
Yes. I'm not sure if it was $2,500. I don't know the exact amount. I was pretty much just roundabout what it was. But it was more than $2,500.
Well, how am I supposed to know? What am I supposed to take a number out of the air?
No, I'm not.
I mean, you're a big grown-up girl. You're 22 years old. You have 4 children. You're supposed to know how much your security deposit was, even though you didn't pay for it, because the state paid for your security deposit. Am I getting that right?
No, actually.
Am I getting that right?
No. Brian sold his vehicle to get us in the place. He sold it for $2,700.
Well, that's not actually what you... That's not exactly what you said in your answer. You said he sold his car and you used your foster care money.
I used my foster care money to pay the rent every month. I didn't use that for the security deposit.
Well, Brian can deal with that then when his uncle sues him, because his uncle's only going to get half from you, because you live there along with him.
Co-tenant.
Oh, I'm going to love this. Stand up. Stand up.
Yeah, I'm here.
Stand up. How old? I want to know how old you are. You asked me how old.
And to testify.
What? Well, what does that mean?
Okay.
I want to know how old you are.
I'm 42 years old.
You're 42. And how many children do you have with Miss Garcia? 2 or 1?
3.
How many? You
3.
have 3 children with her. What kind of work do you do?
Facilities maintenance. I'm a 23-year biotech technician.
Could you explain to me why you think that it's reasonable for your uncle to pay the rent or any part of it for where you, Miss Garcia, and your 3 children were living?
Why should he?
And for you to pay nothing. Yeah, and you pay nothing. I mean, you're working.
What do you mean I didn't pay anything? Who said that? So.
Well, you didn't pay rent for 4 months, according to Miss Garcia. According to Miss Garcia, you didn't pay rent for 4 months.
I wasn't obligated to pay rent. That was between Richard and her. I was.
No, just a second. I'm just asking you.
What? It's not my. It's not.
Well,
me being off and on at the house doesn't constitute me paying the rent when it's their agreement. Yeah. It's great.
Oh.
I do my part. I do my part.
What do you do for your part other than make children? You don't pay for your rent. What you do to do your part? I just want to know what you do to do your part. Tell me what you do.
It's irrelevant in this matter. I'm here as a witness to what's going on, and
I don't want you to be a witness. I want you to tell me what you do. What you do to do your part. You have a girlfriend and 3 children.
And that's not your place.
You provide what?
I provide food. I provide towards the bills. I'm a provider.
What bills?
Multiple bills. Don't you have bills?
What do you provide?
SDG&E, trash,
the first thing I take care of are my taxes. And my taxes.
Okay.
First thing I take care of my taxes. I don't have a mortgage.
Okay.
So I want to know.
For you to say,
I want to know why you think that your uncle should pay your rent.
Because he's a con artist.
Where you live with your 3 children. What?
He's a con artist. His intention in going into this lease was foul in the beginning, so I don't trust him. Period. And me being off and on there.
It was somebody else's fault. It was somebody else's fault. Let me ask you this question.
I mean, did I force his hand in writing the contract?
When you're not living with Miss Garcia, where are you living?
I'd stay.
Not okay. That's not an okay.
I have a 42.
When you're not living with Miss Garcia.
You're concerned. What? I mean, you're asking questions that I feel like she doesn't owe him anything because he didn't do anything for the first 9 months of the lease. So think however you want to.
That's why this country is in such trouble.
Oh, no.
You are the reason why we're in such trouble.
Okay.
Sit.
You got that.
Let's understand this, sir. You made a mistake when you obligate yourself for an apartment, a rent, a car, anything.
As a co-tenant.
Trailer, as a co-signer or as a leaseholder. When it's for somebody else, you have to be confident that the people that you are assuming the responsibility for are responsible. And if you choose not to do that, then this is where you find yourself.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have a 22-year-old living with a 42-year-old who thinks it's perfectly okay for him not to pay rent. This is a problem that's endemic to this country, people who refuse to accept responsibility.
And later today.
He began to ask me what I did with the earring, and I said I replaced it. And he said, well, you replaced it with a cheap earring, or you anything. And then he said, well, I'm taking you to court. I said, well, have at it.
Richard Mann says the girlfriend of his wife's nephew, Jasmine Garcia, owes for rent and damages for an apartment in his name.
Okay, you have a 22-year-old living with a 42-year-old who has 3 children with her and who thinks it's perfectly okay for him not to pay rent. And to start to tell me that he's got a 42-foot boat or a 42-foot trailer or a 42-foot whatever he has, somebody cut off his mic, okay? This is a problem that's endemic to this country, people who refuse to accept responsibility. However, sir, I'm not awarding you what you wanted, which is $5,000. You now have a judgment against you. Go after him for half. She's very busy with her 3 children. I doubt whether she's employed. Are you employed?
No, I'm not employed.
No, of course not. Of course not. And how do you support yourself?
I'm on welfare. And I get money from my tribe.
Wonderful. $2,500. Then I'm probably going to pay it as a taxpayer. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much. Out.
This case is concluded. You're excused.
I didn't ask. He came ranless.
She just got pregnant again. She's had a 3-month-old child. And they was living, on the streets in RV in different places.
He said that he would help me get an apartment so that I can live there with my kids.
She'll have a better place for her to have go through her pregnancy, and the little toddler should have a place to run around.
He did come stay there, and he was there very often.
That's a lie. I never stayed there.
He comes whenever he wants to come, not when invited.
After the eviction, we really never talked before, so it's pretty much going to be the same, no communication.
A lot of friction.
You know, you need to really understand the situation. This rental is very serious, you know.
All parties in the matter of Paxton versus Claiborne. Approach the podium, please.
Daryl Paxton is suing the grandmother of his girlfriend's son, Elizabeth Claiborne, for the value of a diamond earring.
Judge, this is case number 6 on the calendar in the matter of Paxton versus Claiborne. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Thanks, Bert. Mr. Paxton, are you married?
No.
So you live with the child of the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes.
How long have you been living with her?
She actually lives with me. Been living with me for 5 years.
She lives with you. For
Yeah.
how?
5 years.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 56.
And how old is 12-year-old son?
Yes.
And your complaint is that you bought an earring
I bought a pair.
for...
I bought a pair of earrings.
Yes, but you bought one of the 2 earrings that you bought. One was for you, and one was for your girlfriend's son.
Yes.
And you gave it to him as a gift.
Yes.
And when he went to his grandmother's house, his grandmother took that earring out, she's going to tell me why, and didn't return it.
Yes.
And so, despite the fact that once you make a gift, you have no interest in it anymore,
Yes.
you want her to pay you $320, which is what you paid for the earring.
Actually, I asked him what happened to the earring, and he told me his granny took it out his ear, and I was like, well, where is it? And I called her and asked her where it was, and she told me that it accidentally fell in the trash can.
Okay. And,
And I asked her,
Mr. Paxton, when you give someone a gift, you do not retain any interest in it anymore.
I understand that, but my thing to him, to the son, and we specified it to him. Did nobody take the earring out his ear?
But
His father,
his
but-
mother, listen, his mother, who is his guardian, could possibly sue on his behalf.
Okay.
Because the gift, pay attention.
I understand.
Because the gift, I'm going to start again. Once you make a gift of anything to someone, if it's a gift,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
lose all interest in it. Am I bothering your business, sir, with your
No,
phone?
I'm about to turn it off so it won't ring.
Great, great. Well, I thought you were supposed to do that before. Now, if his mother, as his guardian, wanted to sue her mother on her son's behalf, she could do that.
Okay.
But you are non-related to these people.
Okay.
You're not related to the boy,
Okay.
and you're not related to his mother. So you can't sue on his behalf if he wants this earring back. You have no standing. You've made a gift. The gift is gone. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Glad you understand.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
His grandmother says she bought him a pair.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Let me see a pair.
Okay. Just, hey! Don't talk to her. This is not your turn to talk to her.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Daryl Paxton says Elizabeth Claiborne threw away a diamond earring he'd given to his girlfriend's son.
Now, just for my own information, so maybe it will assuage the plaintiff, and I don't know how his girlfriend, your daughter, feels about this. What happened with the earring? Your grandson came to visit you, and?
My grandson came to visit me, and he told me he had gotten his ear pierced. And he said, Granny, you want to see the earring? And I said, I looked at it, but I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. So later on, he came back, maybe about 15 or 20 minutes later, and he kept complaining about the ear, that it hurted. And I said, well, you just got it pierced. So he said, no, Granny, look. So when I looked again, the ear was really swollen. And so I and my husband started to take a good look at it. We got him in the light, and we noticed that the backing of the ear was in the skin of of his ear. So we tried to take it out. So we finally kept screwing and screwing, and finally we got it out. We took it out. The ear was really big, so I put rubbing alcohol peroxide on it, and I put the earring in a cup. Now, the earring did get misplaced. I don't know where it went, but I called his mother. His mother is not my daughter. My son is their father. So I called her and I said, Wendy, I's earring. She said, okay. So I took him the next day and I bought him 14-karat gold set of earrings. We put one in and I gave him the other earring. And I thought that was the end of it until maybe about, I'm going to say 2 weeks later or so, she called me and she said that Daryl wanted to speak to me. Then he began to tell me that, asked me what I did with the earring. And I said, I explained that to Wendy and I replaced it. And he said, well, you replaced it with a cheap earring. You owe me $350. And I told him, I don't owe you anything. And then he said, well, I'm taking you to court. I said, well, have at it. Take me to court because I'm not going to pay you anything. Basically, my grandson's ear was swollen and the earring had caused damage to the ear. So as a grandmother, I took it out.
Well, I just wanted to know what the explanation was.
Yeah, that was it.
Put your hand down. Put your hand down.
Mm-hmm.
What's your girlfriend's name?
Wendy.
Wendy?
Yeah.
Wendy, could you stand up, please? Wendy, I only have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
When your son went to visit with his grandmother, did he come home with an earring in his ear?
Yes, he did.
And he had one in his ear. Did he have another earring?
I didn't realize it was another earring until a couple of days later.
No, I didn't ask you what you realized. Did you see one ear? Mother says she bought him a pair.
Yes.
She bought him two. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, you see a pair.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just, hey! Don't talk to her. This is not your turn to talk to her.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
So you saw that his grandmother bought him a pair of earrings, right?
Yes.
And your boyfriend got his nose out of whack, so I assume you looked carefully at the earrings that his grandmother bought him.
Yes.
Would that be a fair statement? Were they 14-karat gold earrings?
No. They was zirconia.
What were they?
Zirconia earrings?
Zirconia is a diamond. That's a fake diamond. Was it set in 14-karat gold? Was it set in gold? Or you don't know?
No, I'm not sure. No.
Okay, so it was a diamond zirconia. It was a fake diamond set in something like a stud. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now you can sit down. This was a very interesting case. Mr. Paxton, you have no standing to sue the defendant.
Okay,
Thank you
fine.
very much. Your case is dismissed.
Okay.
We're finished. Thank you. Bye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You brought some goodies with you, some cannabis.
The dog went inside of the luggage, but the dog was behaving normally, kind of just laying there.
The dog was high.
Next Judge Judy.
I paid $330 for a pair of earrings, and the earring that she put in his ear was fake.
I'm happy with the decision. Basically, the earring that he so-called claimed he bought was not even $300. It wasn't even a $100 earring.